the honey scene, the honey story was
Ugh.
pretty insane. And
I had to cover my face because like the guy's chest was so hairy that it just made it like disgusting. Like cool story, bro.
hello, everybody. Welcome back to the FilmBudsPodcast. This is episode number 594. The
2026.
Yeah, pretty crazy. First of all, sorry that we didn't really have any December content. We had some crazy things going on, a hectic month, to say the least, and which we'll get into in just a minute. But thanks for being here. Subscribe, all that good stuff, and hope you'll stick around. Thanks for showing up. So, first of all, I mean, work for me was crazy. That alone would have been stressful, but we had a sudden
doggy health scare emergency.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to?
Well, around Thanksgiving, our Siberian Husky, Miley, she chipped her tooth. And, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Because when we brought her into the vet, they did a basic exam and felt a pretty big mass around her stomach area, her abdomen. And they thought it was a spleen issue. But they did an x-ray and turns out it was a non-viable fetus. And she's spayed. She has no uterus, no ovaries, no reproductive organs at all. So we have no idea what happened there. And then we scheduled the surgery to get it removed because it was basically just a ticking time bomb of when it was going to burst, because it was just like a sack of tissue. So we got it removed. And then a day later, she had a complication. Her intestine ruptured. And so we had to rush her back, get that fixed. So she had 3 surgeries in like 2 days. The emergency surgery, the abdomen tooth extraction.
But thankfully that's all getting better now. And we had family in town, so that was also just, took up most of our time. But we're hoping to be back this year as normal and do plenty of good shows, lots of good content. And I didn't even say what we were going to be doing yet, besides talking about...
We're really rusty over here.
Yeah. We are going to be reviewing Marty Supreme, which we both just watched recently. And then we're going to be counting down best movies of 2025, shows as well, possibly. And then we're going to be discussing our Letterboxd Wrapped, which is their kind of the first time they've done that, of recapping how many, what you've watched, who your most watched actors, that sort of thing. So that should be interesting. And, well, do you want to go ahead and talk Marty?
Sure.
Right. Well, we do have a clip, so take a listen.
I have a purpose. If you think that's some sort of blessing, it's not. It means I have an obligation to see a very specific thing through. And with that obligation comes sacrifice.
You're not winning back, baby! Yeah! You're my pop, we believe in you.
This is you?
Yeah, it's a nice picture, right?
I don't think you understand the stakes here.
Marty, there are no second chances in life.
Do you need me help? I can help you.
I have a purpose.
This one had been getting a lot of buzz when it was getting ready to be released and had been making its way through festivals and whatnot. I was really looking forward to it. I think we both really like Timothée Chalamet. And
big Chalamet heads over here.
Yeah.
Or champagne, as I say.
You want to kick things off, or shall I?
I feel like my review isn't as positive, so let's start with positive.
Well, it's not a bad thing, though.
But no, you go ahead.
Okay, well, the director, Josh Safdie, he and his brother usually work together. They did Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, which I liked, and they did Good Time with Robert Pattinson, also like that. But they have since split off, and Benny Safdie did The Smashing Machine recently, which we also watched, and then Josh Safdie did this. And I'll say I really, really liked it. I think it's one that will continue to get better over time and on rewatches. It's very stressful, which is how their other movies are. So it's not one you just want to throw on. But I thought Timothée Chalamet was amazing in it. Even just the ping pong skills alone were great, but it's such a crazy arc of a story, and his character is really not very thoughtful, to put it lightly. He just mostly uses people to get to his goal, and then he does have talent, but he does burn a lot of bridges in the process, and so most of the narrative is this guy making terrible decisions, cheating people to get to a spot, to get to a location, to get more money. But I thought it was incredibly well directed. It looked great. The score was really good. I was always engaged. Maybe a touch long. It is 2.5 hours, but I was never bored. And the idea of this guy doing all of this to play ping pong, table tennis, is pretty enjoyable. There are a lot of moments that, we can get into specifically, but what did you think? And because you haven't seen Uncut Gems or Good Time, correct?
No, I haven't.
So
yeah. Overall, this movie really stressed me out, and I didn't go into it knowing that much about it. It pissed me off more than it was exhausting. Overall, Marty Supreme was a thoughtless narcissist that, again, what you were saying, would do anything to get to where he needed to go for table tennis. And I kind of like the fact that it was table tennis, because a lot of people think it's stupid. So it's interesting that the amount of energy it takes for him to defend table tennis throughout the movie, and actually use the fact that, oh yeah, I'm really, really great, but brags about it.
Which he was. But
yes, but the fact that, I don't know, just if he was a humble person like Rocky, or trying to defeat this person, then I would be okay, I feel like I would like it more if he was more humble, and I would understand more. But he just doesn't care about his actions or anything unless he gets caught, or unless he needs more money, like the costume jewelry scene. I am very surprised that Gwyneth Paltrow was in this, but also the graphic scenes, I just didn't really see her as the I would have seen Nicole Kidman as her role, but it was kind of shocking to me, at least, with what other stuff Gwyneth Paltrow has been.
I thought she was good though.
But she was good, but it was just shocking. I would have never put that on my 2026 bingo card of seeing Timothée Chalamet and Gwyneth Paltrow getting really hot and heavy, steamy. And there were a couple of other scenes that we can talk about in a minute that were pretty graphic. But I just don't understand the hype of Marty Supreme. It was okay for me, but it wasn't the best A24 film I've seen.
I think it definitely comes down to personal taste of how the character is presented, because in Good Time and Uncut Gems, and I guess it's just their style, is they typically present unlikable characters who are both compelling, but again, they don't really have a lot of sympathy. So whether or not you're going to be invested is, up to the person. It's not as easy to get behind someone like that. I didn't really have a problem with that at all. The opening credits were pretty hysterical with
That was the best transition I've ever seen.
Yeah. So I think all of the sequences with the guy who he sort of steals from, because there's the bathtub sequence, which was wild. And then he kind of comes back around because there's the whole thing with the dog. And also that speaks to how crappy of a person this guy is, because he just lets this dog go out into the world and then doesn't really save him in the end either. The father is trying to get him arrested, so no one is really out to help him. And the spanking sequence was pretty iconic. unexpected. And what you were saying about the end, I didn't really mind the end of the movie with him acknowledging the child. That, that didn't make me feel for him, but at least he's showing some emotion. And I guess the only thing that I can think of in terms of his character and how he's thinking is, I can't think about anything else until I've accomplished this task. Now the world is open to me. And
no, like I thought that too, but at the same time,
not that makes it okay. It would be, I don't think it would be top 3 Chalamet movies for me, but it would be up there. And, it has stuck with me. All right, well, should we talk about 2025 movies, TV shows?
Sure, go ahead.
For 2025, I would describe it as a consistently solid year. I think in terms of yourself, so you didn't really have I don't think you watched a lot of new movies because we mainly watched ones together.
I mean, I can just talk about the ones that not new, but like the new ones I watched that I like.
Sure. So, now I have my top 10 of the year. So my number 10 is actually a miniseries, maybe controversial, I don't know, but of all the content that I watched this year, it was one that I think of the most and one that stuck with me the most, even if it's not perfect. And that was Monster, the Ed Gein story. And I know a lot of people didn't like it because it was historically inaccurate, or they didn't like the Charlie Hunnam performance, amongst other things. I couldn't have cared less about the historical inaccuracy. That stuff doesn't really bother me typically. And considering who's making it, the kind of content that it is, I wasn't expecting anything to be that on point in terms of accuracy. But I thought Charlie Hunnam was great, very darkly funny. I thought all the performances across the board were quite good. The tie-ins to Hollywood, because obviously, if you know anything about him, he has been one of the most influential people in terms of Hollywood horror and serial killers. And all of those tie-ins were really interesting. Yeah, obviously they're trying to make it more than what it is. And, sequences in movies that are calling back to Ed Gein, they kind of recreate that. But I thought all that worked. I still think the Dahmer series is the best of the 3 so far, but this would be second best. And I know you liked it a decent bit as well, I think, because we watched it together.
No, I always like how they try to show like a sympathetic side that you wouldn't really think about. Like when you think of Ed Gein, you think of Silence of the Lambs, you think of Psycho. Not very great representation.
Which, there's not really a true sympathetic side considering what he did, but I think at least trying to make him a human being, for better or worse, was, I didn't necessarily mind that, because I never felt truly sorry for him, obviously, considering what he did.
No, it's like watching My Strange Addiction. You know what I mean? It's like you want to stop watching, but it's so interesting that you want to keep watching and just see what happens.
Yeah. Then my number 9 is Warfare, the A24 film by Alex Garland, who also did Civil War and Ex Machina. And this is co-directed by a former Navy SEAL. And it's about these soldiers stuck, a true story of these soldiers stuck in a house in Iraq. And it's meant to be ultra realistic, really amazing sound design. Not for everyone. It's another very stressful watch, but I think it really felt unique in a lot of ways and stuck with me. Number 8 is Wicked for Good, which we both saw in IMAX in the theater, and that was really enjoyable.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. And I still like part 1 more. If I had to choose between the two, I think part 1 is a little stronger, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought the world felt very fleshed out. I liked Cynthia and Ariana together in that battle of wills, I guess you could say. Number 7 is Caught Stealing, the Darren Aronofsky film with Austin Butler. A much more low-key kind of comedic film than Aronofsky usually does. He did The Whale, Black Swan, Mother, usually very dark, depressing films. But this was just a good, solid genre film, very well shot. Austin Butler and the whole cast really sold it, really worked very well in that world. Number 6 is One Battle After Another, the new Leo DiCaprio, Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Some people are saying it's like absolute best of the year, one of the best of the decade, century, whatever. Not really that for me, and maybe it'll continue to get better on rewatch, but also a very different role for DiCaprio, he plays a much more of like a child kind of guy, very reckless, and really speaks to today in terms of left versus right in politics. Then 5, which we watched together, is Eddington, another kind of modern day set film that speaks to COVID, cancel culture.
I feel like slow burns. I would consider it a slow burn.
Yeah. Then 4 is Tron Ares, which I saw in IMAX, and that was just nothing in terms of story that's groundbreaking, but watching that on the big screen with the amazing score like booming, I thought it was just a fantastic experience, and I think it's underrated. It's on Disney Plus now. 3 is The Smashing Machine, which, like we said earlier, we watched together recently. A very good, very quiet film, like sports film, that I think is, for one, a great showcase for The Rock actually acting well. And hopefully this will be a new turn in his career where he's not just shooting for the box office and he can actually show some talent. And that the true story of this guy, I didn't know anything about him prior, but them trying to humanize this guy, making him very vulnerable, because he's obviously this huge, big MMA fighter, but he breaks down very quickly when things go wrong. Number 2 is Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro adaptation. Beautiful across the board. I thought performances were great. I think it would be my favorite Frankenstein adaptation as of now. And I hope that Del Toro does more like this, just like he did with...
You don't like Robert De Niro's?
I mean, I like that one okay.
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. But that one, I wish that one was better, but I don't dislike that one. But I'm hoping that, just like he did with Pinocchio and this one, I'm hoping he does more of these like classic horror adaptations. And then one is Marty Supreme, which we just talked about.
Oh.
Pretty supreme. And there were a lot that could have gone in the 9-10 spot. I had a lot of 4 out of 5.
I mean, do you want to mention
the honorable mention?
The honorable mention.
Sure. So I could go on, but I'll just say a few. Wake Up Dead Man, Begonia, 28 Years Later, Mr. Scorsese, the Martin Scorsese Apple TV Plus series. That was really good. And then let's see.
The thing you need to know about Henry is he is an absolute nut for documentaries.
Well, especially stuff about movies,
yeah.
not just docs in general. I like.
So he likes movies about movies.
Yes, like the Spielberg one on HBO, Mr. Scorsese.
So if you guys have any good recommendations of,
I've probably seen it, but feel free.
Yeah, but comment below.
Yeah, and then I would say The Life of Chuck, the Stephen King adaptation. That was also quite good. And I have like 10 more, but I'm not gonna keep y'all here all day. So what's your list looking like?
Well, I haven't made an official list, so I'm just gonna name 10 or 5 from like that were released this year, and then 5 that I've just that are new to me, and they're not rated, just kind of random. Sorry. Lilo and Stitch. I really, really loved it. They added some things that I didn't particularly care for, but still good. Death of a Unicorn. I actually really liked it. I thought it was kind of silly and ridiculous, and also Jenna Ortega, you gotta love her, right? Superman, not to quote Larry David over and over again, but pretty good.
Very good.
Wicked for Good. Unlike you, I liked the second half better. Is it because, As Long as You're Mine? Is it because we see Jonathan Bailey as the Scarecrow and see him shirtless? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But I did like the little kind of political stuff more so like in the second act, and I thought it was stronger in that way. With music, like definitely the first act straight up, but the second act for me, I think I love the storyline and how, Bach changes into the Tin Man and Fiyero turns into the Scarecrow. So I think it was pretty strong storyline wise for me.
Yeah.
But hey, we can review it on another episode.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, I am a nut for Mia Goth, and I thought she was pretty good. The only thing that I am upset about is that there's not going to be a bride move. Like, she would have. Are you kidding me? Like, have you seen Pearl?
Well, we can cross our fingers.
Yeah, I'll cross my fingers and toes, but I think, I think that would have been really good. But overall, I liked it. I thought it was a bit long for me, but and it was kind of it was just kind of funny that Frankenstein like walks in on the boat and is like, "Now I will tell you my story." Like, okay, all right, go for it, champ. I don't know. So that's my 5. All right, another one, Memento from 2000, directed by Christopher Nolan. Pretty wild. I've never seen it before. It's been on my watch list for years, and finally watched it. I was yelling at the screen. It was great. Next, Killers of the Flower Moon from 2023. Psycho. I've never seen Psycho. Don't hate me, guys. But yeah, the original Psycho, crazy, amazing. I see why it's a classic and why it's referenced in so many movies and shows. But if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. Somewhere in Time. This movie just randomly, like a clip randomly popped up on my TikTok For You page when I was scrolling. And so I made Henry watch it with me. And it's one of those movies that, like, I don't know, like, I've been thinking about it all year because it's so weird, like, great. And, like, I see why there's a little, like, I didn't know this, but, like, a little fan base around it. But very, like, worth the watch and very interesting, I think. And I think the acting was pretty good. And, like, the concept, like, it was kind of hard to wrap my mind around. The Fallout, starring Jenna Ortega, I think it's one of those sad movies I could watch over and over again because the acting's so good. The Fall Guy. Do you want to move on to Letterboxd Wrapped?
Yeah. So, and if you have favorites, least favorites, or comments on our list, you can comment on YouTube, which we're also there, or if you have other ways to comment on social media, whatever. Let us know yours. Would like to hear from you. So, if you're, I think, a Pro or Patreon member, they will always do stats for you, but they've started to do just how Spotify does a Letterboxd Wrapped. So most watched directors and genres, that kind of thing. So I'm always curious. I usually kind of have an idea of what I've been watching a lot of, but it's still kind of cool to see the specifics. So I watched 565 like first time watches. I rewatched a few things, but I think it was 565 for first time logs. And then my most watched director was Scorsese, and my most watched actor, I think for the second or third time in a row, was Willem Dafoe, with De Niro being second.
Okay, but he's in everything, so it's not that hard to.
Well, I think he's been the most watched Letterboxd actor for years now. So I mean, he's doing something right. And I love Willem Dafoe anyway. So
well, yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah. Anything else for you?
No, man, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I guess that is about it. In terms of the next show, I think we're still trying to figure that out. We're just trying to get our bearings as we've discussed. So bear with us, but make sure to follow us on social media. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Always great. And hope you enjoyed it even half as much as we did. And we'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye.